I often find myself staring at these posters, daydreaming about the potential of a new upcoming ship. Today, I finally have one less to dream about. The Mercury Star Runner is finally here. So the Gibbening's finally happened, and in this video I plan to give you a quick and dirty tour of the MSR or the Mercury Star Runner. Before we begin, just a few footnotes. So the Mercury Star Runner is available, but it's only inside of the PTU at the moment. And when I say it's available to Eagle Carty test members. The reason you're seeing it pop up everywhere is because it's in Wave 1 PTU, so therefore it's not NDA'd. So while I'm not one of those test members, you'll probably find a lot of willing participants to let you on board the ship and have a little tour, just as I've done for this video. It's also worthwhile mentioning that this was a very abrupt release of the ship, and therefore it could get expanded to a wider audience in PTU before it goes live or becomes possibly available in the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo's free fly around November the 20th onwards. So keep your eyes peeled and you might be able to fly one of these bad boys soon. But for now, let's just get straight into it. Now I feel I have to give credit where credit's due. Every time where CRG has released a multi-crew ship of relative hype, they always manage to step the bar up each time, and it's no different for the Mercury Star Runner. The rear of the ship is where you enter, up the cargo ramp and into the cargo hold. Now you should take note that the Mercury Star Runner is a cross between a cargo hauler and a data runner, providing a fairly hefty 114 SEU of cargo itself, which of course is more than enough to make a decent profit on anything you'll be hauling around the verse. While it may seem obvious, it should be important to note that even though we'll see the server rooms later, that the data running aspect of Star Citizen isn't complete or will be anytime soon. So for now, this is just a pure cargo hauler. On the left side of the cargo deck is the engineering room, and it's here you'll see one of the many improvements that CRG has made when making a multi-crew ship for Star Citizen. The first thing you'll notice, and I'm unsure if this is just part of the Crusader style guide, is that the doors themselves act as signage, so no more getting lost on decks or not knowing which room you're about to get into. Starfarer. The second and probably more important aspect is that the way you get into rooms themselves. You'll notice that each door next to it has a switch. It can open and close a door, but on top of this they've also added functions such as a sensor, which can automatically detect if somebody's outside the door and automate the door as a result. Also, on top of this, anybody with the right privileges can now lock doors, meaning that any stowaways or just reckless people inside of your ship can be locked inside or outside of certain rooms, which is a feature I think is going to be particularly useful for the Star Runner itself, and we'll get into that later. Inside the engine room you'll find the usual suspects. At the back is the quantum drive locked away. To the left of this is one of the two shield generators, I believe, which are just mounted on the wall either side of the door. Behind that are 4 cubbyhole boxes for the power generators and the coolers. Now I mentioned earlier that the ship is a cargo runner, and that's not exactly a lie, but it's not the entire truth. What's actually special about this ship is to do with this back wall. See, the Mercury Star Runner is effectively the Millennium Falcon of the Star Citizen universe, meaning it's a smuggling ship. So while like any other engineering room there's enough exposed pipe to make a plumber quake in their boots, don't be fooled by how ordinary everything seems. See, if you head on over to this panel in the wall, you'll get a prompt to open it, and behind it is a secret switch. Press opening on this and you'll hear some clunking to the left, and this is actually a door, revealing, voila, secret smuggling tunnels that go through the entire base of the ship. We'll come back to this near the end of the video to give it the time it deserves, because there's a lot of secret hatches and routes you can take throughout the ship. But we're going to quickly double back to something I might have nearly missed. Yep, we got light switches. Every room inside the ship you can just turn off the lights. Finally. A small thing, but something that shows progress when it comes to multi-crew ships. Coming back out onto the cargo deck, you'll see a small hatch across from me. to the right of the cargo ramp. I apologise for this because somebody's just already opened it, but basically this is another secret room. To the right of it is another secret panel with a hidden switch behind it, and inside you find a small room with access to the same smuggling routes with a small bit of capacity for cargo. But it's added to the overall grade of 114 SCU, so you'll probably fit in about 12 here. To the back left of the cargo deck you'll find the elevator to go up a floor. It should be noted that I've already heard stories of how spacious the cargo deck is, being able to fit an Ursa rover or even a Kruger inside. As signposted by the door you'll find here the server room, and also the connection to many of the other rooms inside of the ship itself. When data running eventually gets introduced into the game you'll probably find yourself in here swapping out server blades and whatnot. Walking out you'll realise you can go to a much bigger right area or a small room on the left. We're going to start with the room on the left, which is the scanning room. Now I apologise in advance for the weird kind of shaky footage here because of the force reactions, because the pilot's actually chosen to take off. But inside here we have the scanning room, which is empty, is the best way to describe it. Now I didn't realise this at the time, but right there at the bottom is actually another secret hatch to open up into the network of tunnels below. So at least some of that empty space has usefulness to a degree. As with any other ship with scanning, there's a chair, which is probably the most well-framed chair I've seen in the game, alongside another subset of servers for anything you find while scanning. Goes without saying that sitting in the chair currently doesn't really do anything, it just has some nice little readouts and stuff. I for one, and I imagine a bunch of you guys are as well, can't wait to hear the segment that Morphologist is going to have on this room. It is admittedly easily the worst part of the ship because of the empty space. It just feels a bit off. Temporarily going third person inside of the scanning seat gives you the outside view of the ship, so you can see all the beautiful pew-pews. In this room all the switches you could need are located next to the door. Back out into the server room. Across the server room, or to the right of the lift that brought you up here, can be found the two entry points to the two man turrets of the MSR, one on the top and one on below, both with 360 degrees of freedom. Now I could be wrong here, so take this with a grain of salt, but according to what I've seen, the pilot controls the front nose guns on the ship, which are two gimbaled size 3 cannons. The man turrets also have 2 size 3 turrets each, so accompanied with 2 size 2 missiles and 4 size 3 missiles, the MSR sure packs a punch, and thanks to the freedom on the said turrets, the views are stunning. I didn't get to personally test out its combat abilities. Even as a passenger for a very short amount of time, I heard a lot of explosions outside. Following this we have what's personally my favourite part of the ship, the bridge. Accessed once again by the same switches found throughout the ship, you'll find yourself in a T-shaped corridor. To the right is habitation, straight ahead is the cockpit, and left is recreation, which we'll check out first. Recreation is of course where you'll find the crew when they're not working, either eating or just chilling out, and yes ladies and gentlemen, you'll find them in here for more than one reason. That is indeed a working chessboard, meaning that Star Citizen finally has its first on-ship minigame for you to pass the time as you quantum jump long distances. The PCs on the board can be picked up individually and carried much like any other object in the game, but can also be placed in any of the checkered squares where there's not another piece obstructing it, meaning that if you actually kill any of your opponent's pieces, you'll have to manually take them off the board first in order to put your piece down, which works fine in theory, as it allows you to do legal and illegal moves. So this is a great implementation. The room also features that curved long red sofa, which yes is way too far away from the chess table to be able to play from there, and a kitchenette for people to prep meals on their journeys across the verse. Across from this room you'll find habitation, with the usual set of amenities you would find in any other habitation. It has 3 beds, 2 toilets with showers included, which I must apologise for because I forgot to get footage of me opening them, but they're located here in these two curved arches. The doors kind of just slide upwards and downwards from a halfway point and reveal your standard toilet, shower head above and sink to the left. You also have two desks for just general everyday work accompanied by drawers which currently don't work, and ample storage, one cupboard for each of the crew members on board. Of course, like many other beds across the verse, you can sit or lie down in these beds and use them to log out from the game. When you log back in, you'll be right back in your bed inside the MSR. This room is also chock full of more brilliant little details, such as the teddy bears and snow globes and duffel bags hanging about, and the fact that there's light switches on either side of the room, so if you like you can get in a little war with fellow crewmates about whether the light should be on, like I did with this guy. Yeah, you're damn right this should be on. There's also some kind of weird omissions, like the fact that the desks are clearly seat height but they don't have chairs anywhere. It's just a bit weird. But anyways, back to the bridge. Now here in this T-shaped corridor you'll find gun racks, 4 in total, and you'll have a few more inside the cockpit itself. Now moving on into the second last main area of the ship, the cockpit itself. First of all, you walk through this kind of weird corridor. I don't understand its placement or reasoning, but it's here and you'll have to live with it. When you reach the cockpit you'll notice the gun racks on the right, and then the pilot seat and co-pilot seat being quite close to you. Entering either one of these seats will turn it around and push it down the rail towards the canopy where all the MFD displays lie. Like they've promised for all up and coming ships, a number of the buttons you'll find around these MFDs are interactable and duplicated for the co-pilot side. Powering up the ship will reveal that there's no Crusader specific HUD for the ship, which is kind of disappointing because it means it's something they're going to have to go back and revisit, given they've stated that they're going to be rolling out manufacturer specific HUDs for each ship.
Crusader Industries, a journey worth taking. Systems on.
And that's the power up sequence for a Crusader ship. The views you can grab from either seat are pretty damn spectacular, as you can look all the way up and to the left and right without any struts compromising your view. As for taking off, well, that's what it sounds and looks like. It's a surprisingly nimble and speedy ship. I've noticed it does have a pretty damn dangerous roll on it, but given all of this is subject to change as they try and fine tune and balance the ship, I'm going to leave this here, but just know, for now, it's a very fun ship to try and fly. And now we can move on to the final area of the ship. Now I mentioned earlier that the Mercury Star Runner is effectively the Millennium Falcon of the Star Citizen universe, and this is because of its smuggling aspects. As it stands, the MSR accounts for 114 SCU of cargo. For now, for some reason, this also includes the secret stash, which of course is entered via these. This network of tunnels runs underneath the entire ship, coming in and out of certain rooms, with entries and exits inside of certain rooms. The one you just witnessed was near the bridge in the secret panel in the floor. There's also a fairly obvious entrance in the secret cargo room. There's one located inside the scanning room, which I, forgot to record. And the last intentional entry point is the one in the engine room behind the secret door. Now of course, I've mentioned these as entry points because they're designed to be able to access from either side, whether you're inside or outside the tunnel. But there's one that's my absolute favourite, but it's only an exit point, and that's this. Yup, underneath the goddamn chess table, back into the recreation room. As I said, you can pretty much get into every room on the ship from these tunnels. There might be one inside the habitation, but I didn't quite get to check that one out if there is. But luckily, all of the hatches, if you've noticed and kept a close eye, are very clearly labelled as to where they lead to, which is always helpful. Again, another step in the right direction from CIG. As I just mentioned though, the chess table one is strictly an exit really. You get out by jumping up onto the ledge and grabbing on. But once you're out and you close the door, as you'll see what I do with this guy, unless you're really fast, you can't reopen it from this side. You'll just end up grabbing the chess pieces and there's no dedicated button or anything to do so. So be careful with this one. And with that brings the end of our tour of the Mercury Star Runner. Make sure to get into the PTU if possible and test this one out. Just remember, lock your doors, check for stowaways, and fly safe. But no one's safe from the 30k. And that's it for this Star Citizen focused video. We're a fairly new channel, so if you enjoyed what you saw today, please be sure to drop a like down below, comment with your thoughts, negative and positive, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more in the future, keep on doppying, and we'll see you in the next one.